Yo, what is going on, YouTube family? I am back with yet another video, and we're back with yet another You review. We have You Season 5, Episode 8. We have Folie, Deux. Shouts at the Joker. That movie sucked, but it's the only reason I know that term. We got a lot to talk about here. You know, Lois spares Joe despite his dark plan by saying, "I'm not going anywhere." Kate resolves to take down Joe due to his violent nature and malicious actions, and Joe admits his fondness to killing, showcases true evil in him, and faces betrayal. You know, Joe is kind of stuck in a corner here. He's kind of revealing all to Lois, and he's not really sure if she's gonna accept him for it. So that's kind of the verdict there. Make sure you guys go check out my other videos and whatnot. By the way, we're going crazy. Shout out to you guys for checking out the short on YouTube. That's pretty awesome. This episode is all the elements of the Netflix series that fans know and love, from Joe Goldberg being forced to look inside himself to some haunting scenes in his infamous cage. The cage damn near makes a full-blown return here. You know, the cage hasn't been a super prominent part of the show, but now it's really coming into play here. I love that. You know, at the end of last season, it was unclear how Joe could truly live happily ever after in New York City, although he swore he would try. Now, Joe's marriage to Kate Lockwood has been over for a while, and there's no turning back. He has to really commit to this relationship with Bronte, win her over, make sure he can trust her, all these sorts of things. As fans thought about which characters could come back, they also wondered if Joe would escape or be punished for the murders he committed. This episode might not answer that question just yet, but as this season gets closer to its last episode, the show is as fun as a ride as ever. I mean, this episode is great. I think they do a really good job of kind of upping the tension here. So without further ado, giant discussion, what happens, how it ends, and then we can kind of give a review on it. So again, what kind of happens here in Folie, Deux, the current episode we are here to talk about? It begins with Joe wondering if Lois can accept him for who he is or face the consequences. You know, if he has to face the consequences, he's probably going to get stowed away forever. And I feel like that's kind of what the season is leading to anyway, but how we will get there is kind of what we're figuring out here. Since fans know Joe is a manipulative and scary person, it's clear he means he might kill Lois if things don't work out the way he wants, as he does with all of his lovers. You know, if any of his lovers disagree with him, he ends up killing them. That's how the show has kind of progressed forward over the last 5 seasons. Lois wakes up and asks why she's chained to the bed and spills the truth about lying about who she is and trying to get Joe in trouble. Of all the past You characters that could show up, Nadia Farron is the most fascinating one, since she immediately guessed Joe's secret life. She knew right away. So we kind of saw her last season playing detective towards Joe, and now she is in full effect here, and it's really awesome to watch. Yeah, shout out to Nadia Farron. Amy Lee Hickman plays her character. Nadia and Kate have a fascinating conversation when Nadia says Joe is the eat the rich killer from last season, which Kate didn't know, which is kind of crazy. You kind of forget some of that stuff, you know? You watch the show and you kind of forget some of these small details. Like, wow, Kate actually didn't know that. This whole time, you know, Joe was playing up of his side like he was this goody two-shoes and all this type of stuff, and Kate this whole time didn't know he did all that stuff. Like, obviously she knew he was a murderer, he killed Reese Montrose, he killed Bob, but her own friends, like, wow, she really cost some of her friends' life by trusting this guy, being in a relationship with him, and kind of facilitating his desire to kill people. Kate says she's going to make sure Joe is in prison for good. Later, Kate meets up with her friend Lady Phoebe Borhall Blacksworth, which we know from last season as Tilly Keeper, and Kate asks Nadia to help her punish Joe. Nadia explains that knowing who Joe truly is ruined her. The storyline gets even sadder when Henry uses Phoebe's phone to call Joe and ask if he's going to prison. Kate tells Joe, "I am taking you down. You will never see your son again." Obviously, it's dark, but we know that Joe deserves all of this stuff. So yeah, at this point, Joe hopes Lois is as dangerous and violent as he is as well, as we're kind of getting into that. The whole Henry situation was super fucked up, though. I'm not going to lie to you. She shares that she snuck into a stranger's funeral once to see if she would cry because she didn't get emotional at her mom's funeral. She realized there was something kind of wrong with her, because if you go to a family member's funeral and you don't cry, there actually might be something wrong with you. Like, no joke. I mean, I guess it's okay to not be an emotional person, but your mother, like, I'd be bawling my fucking eyes out. Seriously. It's unsettling watching Lois with Joe. She's vulnerable and clearly trusts him, and you really feel for her character because you know that every single relationship leading up to this point in the show has not ended well, so you can only assume the same for Lois, and she seems like a pretty genuine character, you know, as do all of the other Yous in the show. Joe reveals his dark plan. Dane is in the cage, and Lois can decide if he is killed or goes free. It's cool to see Dane in the cage. Again, it's cool to see the cage kind of be brought back in the show. Some viewers guessed Mooney's bookstore would be an important setting, and it's unnerving seeing this location again. Joe has to clean up another mess as well. You know, he's got a lot of stuff to juggle, as he has had a lot of stuff to juggle throughout the season. I mean, that's kind of just been the nature of it. Telling Maddie Lockwood to convince Harrison to stay quiet about Maddie killing Reagan. When Maddie is successful, Joe is angry and envious that they have found love. He freaks Maddie Harrison out when he stabs a chair. He fucking crashed the fuck out. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Joe's a fucking crash out for that. Like, what the hell, dude? He's been listening to some Slime Get him or something, bro. I don't even know. It's an important scene that shows that while Joe has fooled at people for years, he can't hide his true self anymore. After an unsettling back and forth between Lois and Dane, he kind of opens up about being a caregiver for his mom, which she can relate to. So him and Lois kind of have a heart-to-heart. They kind of have a confessional with each other. It's a beautiful moment, but at the same time, fuck you, Joe, you're a piece of shit, and you've been a piece of shit the entire time the show has been going on. She relates to that. Joe tells Lois he can kill anyone who makes her upset. She says it's enough that he wants to. He even wants to. Like, you don't have to actually fucking do that, Joe. We're not maniacs, you know? Sorry about the gnat flying around on the fucking camera. Yeah, fuck you, dude. Just caught that bitch on camera. While New York City is the first perfect new/old setting for this season, the cage is, of course, as interesting as ever. Next, Lois locks Joe in the cage and asks him some significant questions. So they kind of take turns doing a trust fall, take turns, like, testing each other, doing a lie detector test, basically, in this cage. You have to tell the truth in the cage or else you're gonna die. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. It's an unsettling, shaky scene, and it's unclear if Lois wants to get to know Joe better or frame him for his crimes. Lois asks Joe, have you killed anyone innocent? And this whole time, when you see her kind of winding him up in this cage, you're really fucking curious. Like, what kind of questions will she ask? And ask what he's afraid to tell her. Joe admits he likes killing, and it's who I am. And you don't really expect this because Joe goes full fucking confession mode. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Lois addresses Joe's childhood trauma and says he's scared people will leave like his mom did and thinks he has to kill so he can earn people's love, and that's just not how it works in this world. It's a disturbing scene, and it feels like Lois is talking to a villain in a slasher movie, like trying to tame him, trying to calm him down. It's like Harley Quinn trying to calm down Joker or some shit. Lois plays the role of the you audience and gets to the heart of who Joe is and adds that he became the protector his childhood self needed. So kind of how this episode ends, the teaser showed Joe in the cage, and that storyline plays out surprisingly. Joe's actually in the cage. That's kind of where that came from. While viewers might have thought Lois would turn Joe in, she unlocks the cage and says, I'm not going anywhere. Lois proves she likes the person she is with, Joe, when she says, I'm Bronte and I see you, Joe Goldberg. I understand you. I like you. I accept you for who you are. That's a big moment. This is an important and memorable moment in this season as Joe has proven he is the same person he always was. He thinks that every heartbreak and mistake and life he took is fine because he met Lois, who he believes is the one. And this is a whole fucking narcissistic ass moment for Joe because it's like, wow, how insensitive of you to say that after everything that has happened, you are being accepted and you are doubling down on your murderous ways and doubling down and saying, yeah, I don't regret that shit at all, basically. Kate and Maddie, anyway, meet with their crisis manager and give evidence against Joe. Although Kate could get in trouble for her own murder, she says she doesn't care because she wants Joe to be punished, which is great. It says a lot about her character, obviously. Shows to Nadia, anyway, how much she cares about this cause. Joe shows he's a truly evil person despite his charm. When he calls Kate, it says she's worse than him because she was responsible for the deaths of several children. This is Kate's worst regret and deepest secret, of course. While Kate could go down the same path as Joe, she has feelings and empathy and wants to turn him in. She regrets what she fucking did, unlike Joe. How does that make her more of a monster? I don't know, Joe. You're kind of a fucking idiot. And this episode wraps up with Joe killing Dane, officially, I think, yeah. And Kate telling Nadia they have to kill Joe to get him to stop. There you go. He does end up killing Dane. Now, what will happen when Bronte finds that out? You will have to see, but that is going to do it. That was what happened in this episode. Let's get into the review. Man, just getting into the review, I really enjoyed this episode. I think they threw a lot of unexpected shit at us, especially with the fact that, like, Bronte accepted Joe for who he was. And maybe that is a little bit of a plot convenience. Maybe that is kind of some, not filler, but again, plot convenience to get the show to go on 2 episodes longer. Because I'm telling you right now, the end of the season, and the end of the show is going to result in either Joe dying or him getting thrown in jail. This is not going to be a happily ever after story, especially after all the victims, especially after all of the yous that have fallen victim to Joe Goldberg. It just can't end that way. It would be disappointing if it did. We need to see Joe get taken down because, yeah, we like him as a main character. He's a very unique character. There's a lot of, like, character studies and all this stuff that you could do on him, and he's very intriguing. But at the same time, to end the show, he has to get taken down. So again, it was intense, man. Very intense episode here for sure. One of the more intense episodes, especially when they're standing in the cage, like up here in the picture. It was just great. I think it was very well executed. I cannot wait for what the last 2 episodes have to give us. Again, I really appreciate your guys' support on those shorts, by the way. It goes a long way. We had like 700 views in like 6 hours, which is incredible, which is insane for this channel. We don't really get that on the normal videos, but I like that you guys are stopping by the shorts and all that stuff. And if you find the videos that way, just leave a like, comment, subscribe, do whatever. It is your boy GZTV. I'm trying this summer to really grind out some short form content. Summer Smash is coming up. I'm looking to do some new Music Friday stuff like I used to do back in the old days. If you know, you know. It's going to be phenomenal. Again, check check out all the socials. I'll pop them up right here, right now. I will probably do this on every video from here on out. Again, really good episode here. There's a lot of stuff, you know, Stranger Things is coming out soon. Squid Game is coming out soon. I'll probably watch the new Dexter stuff as well. It's going to be a great summer for television. I'm out.